Where is the high desert Mojave River Valley economy? And Joseph W., where in the world are we?
Yeah, Terry, we recently moved. We moved maybe 1,000 feet away from where we were. So, we've been up here 35 years, and this is our fourth move. And we were at our last location for 13 years. Landlord needed the space, so we moved down here. We're at 12402 Industrial Boulevard, Suite B6. Space a little bit smaller than what we really wanted. We're looking at a couple of other options, but at the time we wanted to stay kind of within our area. For those that know or don't know, so we're pretty open about it. We were under an NDA with a major public real estate company, Marks and Millichap, through March. So on March 13th, unfortunately, on March 13th, they opted to stop all acquisitions across country, and it was the Monday right after the Silicon Valley Bank meltdown. We've got a great relationship with Adam. We have a great relationship with Mario Alvarez. It's still a very viable deal. But I think everybody understands, the real estate market's a little rocky right now. The economy's rocky. They just raised interest rates again. We're at over 5.5% of the prime. So we put that off. So where are we in the high desert and where are we in the Mojave River Valley? I still believe that our cycle up here will be very different than the cycle down below. So if you look nationally, there's the discussion: are we in a recession? No, we're not. We haven't had two negative quarters of GDP. The numbers just came out today at 2.4% for last quarter. We've been as high as 3.2. I think we've been as low as 1.8. Interest rates were just jacked up again. They may do it again. Inflation's dropped to 3%. I think where the challenge is, when we talk about inflation, what they include in the numbers and what they don't include. I travel 12 weeks a year. I'm still working every single day. But I can tell you the fillets that I might get in a restaurant, they're not up 3%, they're not up 12%, they're up 25%. And I think that the bigger issue, before we get into the economy, is that once these prices stabilize, most entrepreneurs are going to keep those prices there and they're not going to drop them down. So now all of a sudden we've had this shift. So, we've seen a lot of strikes across our country in different segments. We're at the writers right now. But I think for the high desert, when you look at Southern California now, there's only three places to go. You got the Antelope Valley, Palmdale, Lancaster, Rosemont, Mojave. You've got the Mojave River Valley, Adelanto, Apple Valley, Barstow, Hesperia, Victorville, and then the Coachella Valley. And we've seen more new money coming on in this market in the last 3 to 4 years than we have ever seen. You see the continue aggressive acquisitions by Ken Shear, Mark Milikovic of Covington and what they're doing here. On the industrial side, we have about 28, 29 million feet, depending upon how you count, according to CoStar, on the ground right now. We have right now about 70 million feet in the pipeline. So there's about 13 million in the Hesperia pipeline. Okay, there's another 20 million plus or minus in the Adelanto pipeline. There is probably 4 million at SCLA in the pipeline, because Prologis can design things and put them on the shelves all day long. Apple Valley has 20 million in the pipeline, according to Orlando and Daniel when we were out there recently with Doug Robertson, the town manager. And Barstow's got about 5 million in the pipeline. Now that does not count what's going to go in with BNSF. So let's pretend we're on the Cajon Pass and we're driving on up. We're going to talk about where the cities are. John Ohanian and Silverwood they're moving full speed ahead. Models, they have picked their 5 national builders. They got a great assortment. I'm excited not only for John and for Ray Huerta, the former chairman of CBRE, and he's with Beaumont Partners, and they raised the capital, the initial equity for this project, and they're working with DMB and then Terra Verde. But when the 5 builders are announced, there's one that's going to be, they're all great builders, but they're just going to bring validity. So they're now starting to do some soft marketing. I'm getting emails. They're moving along. Ranchero Road is under construction. That $52 million widening will hopefully be done within the year. So that's a real deal now. And I just had a chance to have a cup of coffee with Rachel Molina, the city manager of Hesperia. And as she said, Joe, it's a game changer. So that community right there changes who's going to be able to live and play up here versus having to live down below if you want a better lifestyle. The industrial corridor is doing very well. The retail corridor within Hesperia is doing very well. There's a couple major anchors that are shifting around there. Brandon Boschman's CBRE's got probably the prime retail spot there. He's got some major retailers that are going back and forth. You've got some of the major fast foods that are still looking down there. So they're doing well. You get up to Atalanta, and I think Atalanta is really stabilized. I've got to say that while I've had some concerns in the past, I think that they're bringing enough money in, stabilized on the cultivation business, that are helping to backfill some of the deficits that they had. They almost had a structural deficit out there. And they've had aggressive developers like Jimmy Prevedian out there that have done real well. I think the Atalanta that the marijuana market has kind of peaked as far as value and price per leasing and price per square foot. Then you move right over to Victorville and what Kim Schneider's doing and Tyson Chase with SCLA, and they've got the crown jewel right there. So they're doing very well. They're great to deal with. They got a great leasing team in Jay Dick and Diedrich Ferris out of CBRE. Going to the east, Apple Valley, we just recently met with one of the state's largest private developers with city staff and the city manager, and they've got 20 million feet that's in the pipeline in industrial in that north part of town. We were talking to them about the Strata project that we've done a lot of work on, where that's at the end of Choco there. So they're looking really good, and then they're still working to get the Sprouts under construction down there off of Bear Valley Road. So that's doing well. You've got some leasings being done in Apple Valley down off of Bear Valley Road. I will say this: we're very, very proud that we were selected by Rich Development to take over the Mojave Plaza Center that has Aldi's, Panera Bread will be opening across the street from the college here in about 2 weeks. AutoZone, Wendy's, Planet Fitness is in there. There's a Dollar Tree coming in. There's a Quick Quack car wash, and then right behind that is a 40,000 square foot lot that we can do a build a suit on. So we're really excited to work with not only Joe Rich but Bart Hollander. I mean, they're just great people to work for, and they wanted a local broker. They had Epstein. Epstein's just, one of the tops in retail. Then you get out to Barstow, and Barstow has really, I think, leveled out with what they're preparing for with BNSF. Lena Kent with BNSF has been doing a lot of community meetings. She just did a big one out in Silver Lakes, and she's been meeting with different groups on out there. Willie Hopkins, city manager, and Cody Tompkins, the assistant city manager. They're doing real well. They're working with PlaceWorks on the general plan amendment, and we are pleased to say that we represented Lewis Acquisitions, Bart Lewis Operating, on a very large acquisition. It's called an E&A, an exclusive negotiating agreement, right just north of where the home to suite is, kind of the backside of the Flying J over there off of Fisher Boulevard where that peels off. That's about a 3 to 4 year acquisition to go through BLM and the approvals and all that. So I was really proud to be able to introduce Richard Lewis, the president of Lewis Operating, 2 weeks ago out there. So that's exciting. And BNSF is going through the EIR process. They'll hopefully have that out to the public, they figure, by fourth quarter this year. So, when you take that and then you couple by the game changer, Brightline, Sarah and Ben and that whole crew, they're really good about keeping us updated about what they're doing. They just picked up a grant for $25 million to help design the Hesperia and the Apple Valley facilities that will embark and disembark. And they recently told me that they hope that they're going to find out their funding by the end of October, which I believe it could be the end of the year. But I really do believe that it's going to happen. I know the Biden administration supports it. I know that Gavin Newsom supports it. So you get you get some of that infrastructure money and some of the money that came out of the rail slide. The high desert's off and running. So how does that work right now? So while the market's slow, we're still getting calls. People still move around. Leases still come on up. So we're not lacking. Activity is not as high as it was. I mean, we're not doing some of the bigger deals that we were. But at the end of the day, I mean, the one thing you learn in this business is there's cycles. There's good times and bad times. When you have good times, you pocket it. When you have bad times, you got to kind of rein it in. So the world's not falling apart. I think that we do have some challenges Nationally, I think that we've got a lot of political infighting. We've got some pretty serious stuff out there. I mean, now you've got North Korea wanting to meet with Russia. I'm thinking, boy, that's not a real good deal. I mean, those two are not meeting because they want to have dinner with Joe Biden, or neither Nancy Pelosi or even Donald Trump. But yeah, so I think that we're in very interesting times right now. I tell people the world's not going to fall apart. Interest rates are going to be up for a while. The Feds are trying to curb inflation. I don't think they've done a great job, but they're doing what they can. And I think that they put too much money in the system. The one thing I'm a little concerned about that hit markets like ours, I think, a little bit harder than some of the inner markets within the inner cities, is the M2 money supply has really been tracking people that got a lot of COVID money. And they were sitting on that COVID money. They might have put it in their savings account. They've been pulling it out. And they say that money is going to be kind of drained by the end of the third quarter. So that's the end of September. So that's 2 months away. So now, and I happen to, I like Jimmy John's, and Deb doesn't. I don't know why, but I like their sandwiches. But they just came with a salad. So he came by there, and there was a real nice manager over there, and asked her how business was. She says it's good, but she says we're seeing people pull back because they just can't afford. So you're starting to hear that. Used car prices are kind of sliding a little bit. New car prices are not as firm as they were. So I don't know if it's a recession or cooling off. I don't know, but I think the high does. I'm really excited for what we see, and I think that you're seeing people positioned to get in here. Different companies are really starting to position. New money's coming in, so we'll see where it goes.
Thank you for being with us on this Joseph W. Brady Online Report.